Okay, we are live. So, welcome to Tamarah's Closet today. I have a very special guest with me today, and because it's always special when I have a guest that I have been able to photograph, even before the interview. And my guest today has an amazing story to share. He has been full-time in the music industry for 17 years, and after many obstacles through his health that he's had to overcome and just going through hard times of feeling like giving up, his persistence to push through has finally paid off. He just recently got a big break and has been back to Nashville to record one of his original songs, Feels Like I'm Running Out of Time. And he shared the stage with many great performers such as Travis Tritt, Allan Coe, Craig Morgan, and others. And in 2014, he was nominated for Male Vocalist of the Year by the Artist Music Guild of America. And I had the honor of photographing him for Everything Music magazine, which is right behind me here. So without any further delay, because we've got lots of questions, I want to welcome Michael Ken. So say hello, Michael, so I know you're still with me.
Hello, Michael. I'm still with you.
Okay. Okay, he's giddy today.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. Michael, I always like to start. I really want to thank you for being here. And I like to start with kind of the background of your talent and a little bit of your family history. Do you have a background of musicians or artists at all in your family, or?
Yeah, I have a lot of family members that play music. My daddy plays guitar, and my son's a well-rounded musician. Plays a lot of different instruments. So, yeah, we got a lot of people that do it.
Yeah. Do you have someone you would? How do you think you got your talent, or who do you think you got it from? Did you have any singers, or?
My daddy's my earliest. I think I seen my dad playing guitar when I was a kid. So, yeah, I think, yeah, that's what I remember when I was young, you know.
Yeah. What was your first memory? What's your first memory that you have about music, like growing up, or?
Probably watching the Jackson 5 and American Bandstand, and I think one of my first singer-songwriters I can remember seeing Michael Martin Murphey sing Wildfire playing on American Bandstand. I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, I think that's my earliest.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I was in diapers then, okay?
Well, what type of music were you exposed to the most when you were growing up? Maybe that your parents listened to, or any other family members?
Country rock, such as the Eagles, the Carpenters, and I used to hear a lot of country and stuff, but a lot of rock and different. I mean, I was just into all kinds of music. I always have been. So yeah, it's been a good experience. Being when I was a kid, I was always into, you go through your little phases as a kid and stuff, but I mean, I can still remember most of the singer-songwriters I've always been drawn to, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember, like, how old were you when you realized that you had a really strong passion? Do you remember that, or like how far back that went, or?
I was 14. I know exactly when it was. I got my first guitar at 14 years old, so. Yeah,
Wow.
About 14. Yeah, that's up.
Yeah, well, did your parents, did they encourage it? Did they get you the guitar, or what?
Yeah, they bought me my first guitar, and first acoustic guitar. I used to try to play my daddy's all the time, and he had an old Suzuki guitar. And, Suzuki's usually a motorcycle. They had Suzuki guitars over in Korea, and he brought one back from Korea when he was in the Army. So I used to try to play with it, so he finally bought my own, probably so I wouldn't tear his up. So that's where it all started at.
Did he play the guitar a lot when you were growing up, or?
Yeah, when I was a kid, he did. Yeah. He played like that Andy Griffith stuff,
Uh-huh.
You get a line, I get a pole, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Is he the one that taught you how to play guitar, or?
He showed me a few guitar chords, yeah, when I was young. I was real fortunate. I kind of picked up by ear. I think the first song that I learned to play was Lion Eyes by the Eagles.
Right.
And that was off of an album. And, you know, learning to play music by listening to an album or radio, whatever, you find yourself learning to tune the guitar also. So it kind of developed my ear for music, you know. So it was a good thing.
When did you start, like, sing? Did you sing when you were a kid, or when did you,
I think I think I started singing probably about 16.
Yeah.
16 through 18. It's kind of hard to remember, but I knew I wanted to, and I had to learn, you know, I had to figure it out, you know. It took me a while to get it. So.
Well, did someone recognize that you had a gift to sing, or because usually there's someone, you know, that maybe recognizes that you've got real talent. I mean, were you singing around your family? Did they pick up on it, or?
Yeah, I think they heard me singing in the bedroom when I was a kid. They could hear me, and then friends would hear me. I was kind of late bloomer, you know. I used to be really, really shy. You know, I started out singing in church and stuff, and I think being in church singing got me used to being in front of people, you know.
Right.
Of course, I had a friend of mine that's taking me to Pentecostal churches, so it's kind of like going to a Pentecostal church is like playing in bars without the alcohol, because they were all running around, you know. But
well, did you sing in the choir, or because I know
No.
you've done gospel before, but
No, I had a good friend of mine, George McDowell. You know, this is later on. It's like in early 20s. He was taking me to churches. He was a evangelist, and he started pulling me with him to go sing in churches. And he's a real good friend, and you know, it got me used to singing in front of people. So I got really, you know, thrown out there that way, you know, before I started, you know, doing my thing years later.
yeah. Well, when your parents realized that you had, you know, that you had some talent when they heard you sing, or any family members really, did they encourage you to do more? Did you always have that support, or because sometimes parents don't, they try to steer us away from the arts sometimes, you know. So
Yeah, I think that early on they would probably rather me done something different, you know, because the music business is very easy to get into. It's hard to get out of. You know, and it's like one thing that you do when you really pursue that dream and start going after it. You know, in the beginning, there's people who really care about you, rather see you go to law school or do something different, you know.
Right.
But I think when I started, I know jumping the years when I first opened up for Travis Tritt, I think they seen then, you know, he's really going to do something with this, you know. So.
Right. Well, but I wanted to go back because I know you've had a lot of challenges, and to me that's what's so inspiring about your journey, is because your challenges in life started, you know, when you were really young. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about this because, you know, you could have let it be a major handicap, but you never approached your life as someone having a handicap. And I'm referring to your vision, you know, and I know you said a lot of people don't even know you are legally blind. And so I wanted you to sort of share a little bit about that and how you've managed to, because one thing I admired is you've never let that keep you from doing, and not just the music industry, but from doing anything that you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when I was young, the eye disease that I have is macular degeneration. And it's it's actually called Stargotts, which is a juvenile form of macular degeneration. And when I was young, it wasn't well known yet, for younger people to have it. Nowadays, there's more people at my age that have it, and young, that's it's shown up a lot more in the school systems and stuff. So when I was in school, I would tell the teachers I can't see this book, but at the same time, I'm out on the playground swinging off of a monkey bar, So they're like, well, you can't see the book, but you're swinging on a monkey bar, so maybe he just don't want to read. And that's basically, I was diagnosed as being, not really motivated to do school, which I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like school, but I couldn't see the book. So I learned to hide that for many years. And so it became a thing that, they weren't believing that I had an eye disease until I was diagnosed at 16.
But do you know why did you hide it? Do you know why you tried to hide it for?
Yeah, I hid it because people didn't believe that I couldn't see.
Yeah.
I knew that my grandmother did. She knew that. She said when it came time to take driver's ed, and I couldn't go to the classes and take driver's ed, my granny actually told my mama, she said, what 15-year-old wouldn't want to get his driver's license? Why would he lie and say he couldn't see, So that was that was the first thing. And then we went to eye specialist, and he diagnosed it as what it was. So after that, after many years of hiding it, I just kept playing the game. I didn't let on, which actually I look back now and it was actually a good thing that I hid it, because it didn't make me focus that I'm disabled or I have an eye disease and I can't do this, I can't do this. I always said I can do things the way I want to do them, and I found ways to do anything that I wanted to do my way, and I still live that way. So I just went through life and nobody knew. The only thing I knew is I didn't drive half the time, so when I got to be a, older adult, so.
Yeah. But then you did go to the School of the Blind, and that helped you a lot.
It did. I went there, and when I was going through rehabilitation, I learned to do a lot of things that I didn't know how to do before. At Governor Moorhead School for the Blind in Raleigh. So that was where I kind of, really found my direction in music too. It was amazing all the people there that I found a lot of the blind people that could like play instruments by ear. And one thing I found was interesting is I found out, well, now I know why I could pick up music so easy, because I'd be around other blind people that played music and you wouldn't believe that they could, I'm talking about totally blind people, they could pick up on tunes. And some of the best piano players I ever seen in my life were in that school, and guitar players. And it's just a gift that they had. And I realized that must be where it came from, is not being able to see. I could hear, I could hear sounds, I could hear tones, and that kind of thing. Even today, I can be around some people when they're talking, and I can tell if they can sing good or not.
Oh, really?
Cool. Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, that is interesting. So is it by the way, the pitch of their voice when they talk that you can tell, or what?
Yeah, a lot of times I can hear tones. Vocal cords are nothing but an instrument. It's a wind instrument. I always tell people it's like a wind instrument, and you can hear it. I mean, I can hear it sometimes. Some interesting tones. I don't know how to really explain it, but yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like that was because you were probably, that was a realization, is what you were saying, when you were in the School of Blind, that you wanted to do music. What was the pivotal point that led you to pursuing it as a career? Was it while you were at the School of the Blind that you realized that, or?
It started there. I always felt different as a kid. And it's something I don't talk about a lot, but I always felt like I didn't fit in with anything. I didn't fit in sports. I didn't fit in with business people. I didn't fit in. I mean, I could get along. I had friends. Some of my friends became lawyers. I've got one of my friends, a general in the Army now. You know, I went to school with. And I had, you know, I never felt like anything fit me except for music. And when I was at School for the Blind, my cousin was going to school in Lewisburg, and he come down. He was always pushing me in music. He's one person that always made me, you know, he wanted me to like pursue music to the utmost. He said that's what you should be doing, which he was right. And I met Ronnie Millsap. He had come back. He was playing the state fair, and he came over to the School for the Blind, and I was playing guitar on one of the dorm porches. It might have been the Millsap dorm. And I met him, and he heard me singing, and you know, I told him. He asked me what kind of music I done, and time rock and roll to me was the Eagles, you know. So I was playing Eagles songs. I've always done a lot of Eagles music, and he told me that I needed to pursue country music, and that kind of turned me towards country music. And I found out that was the direction I needed to go in.
But what was that? Why? Because you know, I was going to ask you why did you pick? How did you come about to pick country? And that was through your cousin, you're saying, or? No,
not really. I've always told people, getting into music or whatever, music finds the man don't find the music. You know, I think that, you know, even though I always see myself as being, you know, like when I was younger, like being Jackson Browne or the Eagles or something, you know. But it's like, as you're developed as an artist and you start singing, you start playing guitar, you can want to be anything you want to be. But what you're going to be is what you're meant to be and who you are in your heart. And I think that what led me into country music, period, was the real sentimental, heartfelt, real life truth that country music pursues. There's lots of genres of music, and I'm not saying any of them's better than any of the other ones, but I know for me, country music, it's real life. You know, it's not I mean, some of the songs can be silly sometimes. You always hear those songs about throwing beer cans out of the back of a pickup truck and that kind of thing. But in all reality, at the end of the day, country music is about what really happens to us in our life. And that's what drew me straight into country music. For that reason, that's where my heart is, you know, so.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good answer.
Yeah, it tells stories and everything. But I know you're passionate about wanting to bring, because country music's changed and a lot, and I wondered if you felt like sharing your thoughts about how it's changed, because I know you're sort of passionate about bringing the older country back. So
yeah, I think that personally, my observation of speaking with well-known producers in Nashville and some of the management that I'm in now and that I'm associated with now, and just speaking with people in general at the end of my shows or in the real world, everybody's longing for the truth that's in country music again. They want to hear that back. It might not be as much the sound, but we're all looking for that familiar sound. You know, that spirit that was there at one time. You know, I know when I was young, a lot of the kids, you know, it's like, we make fun of it, talking about, I left my wife, you know, or, you know, somebody died and stuff. In all reality, isn't that really what goes on? You know?
Yeah.
We can act like the world's different, but it really, real life is country music. And anybody that listens to country music and knows what it is, they know for a fact that it would be, you know, that way. I thought I just lost you. The screen went black for a second.
Oh, no, I'm here.
Okay.
No, but you like this, but even the instruments have changed a little bit. Where you were telling me that there was I forgot what it's called now. It's a guitar that sits in the lap. You said those sounds are not. as
Yeah.
prevalent today, or as they used to be, or?
Yeah, the pedal steel, you don't hear the pedal steel guitar as much in country music anymore, and that's a really a long lonesome sound, we need. In my opinion, I like it a lot, and the good old sounds from country, it has changed. They replaced a lot of that with rock and roll guitar sounds and stuff like that. But even the messages changed a lot in country, and I know it's the generations and stuff, but I think that we all could benefit from having some of those heartfelt songs to come back, because I think America is longing for that again. I mean, there's so much bad things happening in America now, in the world, let's say in the world. A big market that in the country music industry, I know that is missed is just, people need to learn to feel again in their heart. And I think if we learn to feel again, I think everybody's gotten very cold and numb. And I credit a lot of that to the negative news that we watch. I don't even watch the news. I watch the weather and flip it off because I'm like, I get tired of seeing the negativity that goes on. And I think that if we got back to, talking about heartfelt matters again, that America would learn to love and care again. And I think that's what we need in the world in general,
Well, I agree, and I know I mentioned that too because I know that things have changed, and I think I noticed it because I've been in the fashion industry so long, and I think I had mentioned to you one time that some of even the photography and stuff of like the 40s and 50s, and even the artists back then, seemed to me there was so much more passion and more even more meaning in the I don't know, more depth, more meaning, not in music, but in fashion and in art, and I don't even know how to, like, even just the old Hollywood glamour. And it seems like now today things have progressed so far that it's almost it's lost something like something wholesome. I don't know. And just like the stories, to me, fashion can tell a story too. And today, I'm not inspired by much of the fashion today that I see today, like I was in the when I look back in the days that my mother would have been growing up in that period. So I'm like you. I think the negativity of the world has changed people's creative view and insight into their own work. I mean, we still have a lot of good art out there, but I'm like you. I think I'd like to see some of the old come back. And where people, there was more emotion in it, I guess, and a better emotion, like you were saying, and feeling,
yeah,
feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, we just need to get back to caring again,
Yeah.
And realizing that we all have emotion, and that's what music is for me. It's a magic carpet ride to bring out, a lot of my music, I think, is familiar to the older sound. Not necessarily honky-tonk old country music or something. Sometimes it sounds a little bit like the Eagles, but it's a familiar sound, and I feel like that it's a needed sound that needs to come back in this generation now, so people will learn to feel again, and maybe enjoy music a little different than they do now. I know a lot of people don't know the lyrics to songs anymore,
Yeah.
And that's something that when you learn to listen, you learn, so.
Yeah, you do. And country music's like that, because so much of the we have music that we dance to or whatever, and that's great. But some of the music the old country, like you're saying, has more feeling in it. And I agree with you that people need to feel again, and because we have gotten away from the negativity in the world is just affecting how everything that we do. So, but there was something I wanted you to talk about, because you've never, the thing that that is very admirable about you is that you've never let your vision keep you from your dream vision. And you also hit another major obstacle in life back in 2010. And I wanted you to share that experience, because you lost your voice. And, you know, yeah, and I know you went through a period of hopelessness, but I wanted you to share that experience and how you pushed through that.
Well, I had done a show in Richmond, Virginia. My wife and I were driving back from Richmond, and I told her I had a sore throat. I got up the next day and couldn't talk. And I didn't know what was going on at the time. I thought it was like major laryngitis or something. And long story short, went through a series of appointments with doctors and found out that I had a paralyzed vocal cord, and that was due to a viral infection. That I didn't know that I was sick or anything. And I sang the night before. It was a great show. And so I lost my voice for, we'll say, a year. Not totally lost it towards the end, but in the beginning I did. Got it back, and you know, it all worked out. But it was an obstacle. But it made me appreciate what I do, you know, in music. And it was something that made me realize, you know, that I need to appreciate it more and work harder at my craft and music, you know. So it actually, every negative thing that's ever happened to me, I try to turn it around and make a good thing out of it. There's always a good thing to every dark thing. You know, there's always a good side. For me with that, I learned not to complain so much.
Well, you beeped out. You beeped out a little bit for a minute. You said there's always a good side, and then it quit.
Yeah, there's a good thing that comes from bad, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you can take losing your voice, you know, it made me work harder as an artist to get back to where I was. And I've been told that I sing even better now than I did then, before I lost it. And it's probably because I appreciate it more and work harder at it. You know, I play guitar and sing at least 4 hours a day, most days during the week. And I've learned to breathe. I've learned to do a lot of things that I didn't pay attention to before. Now I do pay attention to them. So it's making me work a lot harder at it.
Yeah. But it changed your pitch too. You said you were more of a baritone before you lost your voice. Is that right? Or?
Yeah, I can still sing low. I was more like a, I'd say maybe a high baritone.
Uh-huh.
But I can sing up to low tenor now. But I think that there again, that came from getting my voice coach and working really hard and pushing through it, and, you know, realizing this is what I've got to do, because I don't have anything else to do but music. That's all I've ever known. So, you know, so I knew I had to step up.
Yeah. But it's good. You made a lot of good out of it, and so that's good, because I think that's important for people to see that you know we do have. It's normal to hit obstacles, and we always hope that they're not health related, but even so, we can push through them. And you made something good out of it, and that, to me, that's very inspirational in itself, that you didn't give up. You could have given up, so, and you didn't.
Yeah.
So that's good. But what great singers and musicians would you say you've looked up to over the years, and how have they inspired you, or what did you learn from them? If you can name any. Or
I think a lot of the 70s singer-songwriters from the get-go, in the beginning, Jackson Browne, Seals and Croft, which became Dan Seals later on, Michael Martin Murphey, a lot of those 70s bands, and especially the Eagles. I think I learned a whole lot from the Eagles, as far as, you know, how to put on shows and how to sing, you know, ballads and sing upbeat stuff. And then as I got into country, I got into Keith Whitley, which is you know, back in the 90s, a lot of the 90s country singers. And I'm a big Blake Shelton fan of today. I mean, I like, it's really hard to describe all of the people that I've really been drawn to over the years. There's too many to even mention, but I take a lot. I made a statement when I was in Nashville last time. I was telling one of the producers in the studio, I said, every time I come into the studio, I bring all of my heroes with me, Waylon Jennings. And when I go in to sing, I have them with me. It's like their spirits are with me. A lot of time, every time I go to the studio, I'll go barefooted in the sound booth to sing, because I can feel, you know, I like all the feeling everything, you know, I can feel it, the rhythm, you know, and see the colors of the song. And all of my influences go with me, and it helps me be who I am, you know, if that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah, it does. Have you ever had a mentor, like, in over the years that, I don't know, a lot of us have a go-to person that's in the industry we're in that we look to for advice or just to help us get through things. Has there been anyone like that for you? That
I think just people that I'd worked with over the years.
Yeah.
You know, I always tried to be around people in the business that were better than me. You know, like, you know, my early days of going to Nashville, I was around Clinton Gregory, and what a great singer, fiddle player, guitar player. And I wanted to be around people that would challenge me to step up and be better at what I do. And I do like to surround myself with people like that, professional people, and to try to get better at what I do. And it makes me work harder. It's intimidating, but it makes me work harder, you know. And it makes me think to myself, well, they did it, I can do it, you know. So I guess that would be what I would call mentors. Is a lot of them. It's a whole bunch of them. I can't really describe. I know I have a lot of respect for some people that's been there and done it a lot of times. Like right now, I'm fortunate enough to work with Jeff Carver, who will who's going to be my national manager in music. He worked with Tracy Lawrence and Clay Walker, and he has, you know, I mean, he has a lot of experience. So I like to listen to those people that have seen things. I remember one time opening up for Earl Thomas Conley, and Earl Thomas Conley said something that I will never forget to me outside of his bus after the show. It was in between my show and his. He told me, I was asking him about Keith Whitley because they were really good friends. And I kind of wanted to know, you know. And he looked at me and he said, Michael, there's a long ways between me and you. And he was basically telling me to keep my nose clean and do the right thing in this business, you know, take wise advice.
Yeah.
And so there's my mentors right there. And my daddy was my first manager, and he was good at managing me and kind of giving me some good advice too. So it's been so many, I can't really pinpoint any one person actually, you know.
Yeah, but that's good. And I was thinking that I knew your father, you're close to your dad, and he's always there at your performances, and you know, and I knew that he had been your manager before, so I thought I would consider that a mentor.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So, but I know you've talked about your tour in England, and I think you mentioned that when I interviewed you for the magazine. and how you taught. I know one thing that you thought you were aware of is how the people received you there, and how it was different from here. And you said, I believe you said they were like treated you like a celebrity. I didn't know if there was something you could share about that experience.
Yeah, it was a good thing. I didn't know what to expect when I went to England. You know, I know before I went, I was on the internet looking at the country and that kind of thing, trying to figure it out. And you don't never really figure it out till you get there. But they were real receptive to country music. They were almost, I want to say, some years behind. I don't know how many, from us over here. They liked the classic sound, which was really cool. So when I would do like a Johnny Cash song or a Waylon Jennings song, they were like, all into it, And I was an American. I thought it was just a real good experience, and they were very kind people, really good people. And there's, in one of my songs, "Seeing You Again," I say the people are the same everywhere I go, and there's always good people everywhere you go, So it was a good experience.
Yeah, well, that's great. I knew that you had been that. What would you say has been your most proud moment so far in your career? Do you have one? You may have more than one. Your most proud.
Probably where I'm at today.
Yeah.
I've wanted to quit the music business way too many times. And every time I wanted to quit, something good come along. So I've started looking at it as a sign that God says, no, you're not done here yet. We've got to keep working at what you're doing. And so it wasn't too much long ago, I told my wife, I told all my friends that, well, I'm done. And I've been doing this for 17 years, actually 18 years. And I got a contract offer from Red Ridge Entertainment there in Nashville. And just come back from Nashville for recording, and a lot of great things. I have some friends of friends introduced me. I won't give out names and stuff. I don't want to throw too many names about it, but I got to meet some really incredible people. I know you interviewed Mark Oliveris. He was really an inspiration. Got to spend some time with him in Nashville, and Jeff Carver and Gary Sutcliffe from Red Ridge and all the crew there, and just got to get in there, and that this is the time that I'm really excited about right now. We're working on an EP there in Nashville, and recording and getting that EP ready, and going to start shopping, and it's really a big time. This is the closest that I've been in my whole career. I'm more excited and inspired now to keep pedaling the tricycle, because it is a tricycle. It's a long road, It's a long road, but it's been worth it. And like I said, it's easy to get into the music business, but it's real, real hard to get out of it.
Say that again, Michael, because the video beeped out. Say that again.
Okay. I said it's easy to get in the music business, but it's really, really hard to get out of it,
Yeah.
But I realized over the last years that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. Even though if it's discouraging at times and this and that, this is really what I'm supposed to be doing. So, I think this is the Nashville album will be, I've recorded in Nashville before. I think it was 2012. And we cut some really good music there with Jeff King from Reba's band, and Cliff Downs producing it. It's really good music, and we've got some good stuff on the way. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, and you've really stayed true to your image. You haven't fallen into like the fads, and I think that's helped you. Don't you feel that that's been important for you over the years? That
it is. It's you know, fads come and go, but if I wanted to be in the circus, I'd have been a clown. You know, I'd have been a clown, but I'm not. I think that I still wear the same clothes, same hat, and same opinion, the same image, the same sound that I had in 2005 when my first album come out, Living on Borrowed Time. It's not changed much, but I am what I am. I tell people all the time, like Papa said, I am what I am, you know. But I believe that, you know, Jeff Carver told me sitting in his living room in Nashville, you know, he said something to the extent, I don't remember word for word what he said. He said, you know, you do what you do and keep plugging it, keep going straight forward with it, keep doing it. And, you know, there's been many times over the years that, you know, I've seen fads come along, you know, in the country music industry, and I'm not going to name names, I'm not going to point out anything. And I used to look at them and think, I can't imagine me doing that. So I just stayed to doing what I was doing. And there was times of doubt that I thought maybe I'm not doing the right thing. But I feel like I am doing the right thing. It's working. So just stay true to who I am and what I do, you know. And the song remains the same, you know. So it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think that's good. That's how people will remember you as well, you know. But other than your health challenges, because I know they were huge, you know, with losing your voice and just your vision there, what would you say has been one of your biggest challenges, just being a singer and songwriter?
Probably.
You know, something that might. Go ahead.
At times, I mean, like I said, a lot of the bad things turn to be good things. I, fortunately, having an eye disease, I've had to memorize lyrics to songs. You know, when I go on stage, I don't read teleprompters, I don't read books sitting on the floor, and I don't read lyrics. If they're not in my head, I don't remember them. So I have to work a lot of hours every day to learn songs or when I write a song, I have to learn my own song. I have to read. I can't read the lyrics. I have to know the lyrics. Even when I go in the studio, I have to know what I'm going to do, and that prepares me mentally and makes me more focused, I think, than I would if I had the luxury of looking down and reading the lyrics. So that's been a real big challenge for me. But it also keeps me on top of my game also. Is to have the ability to memorize, you know, to retain all the lyrics in my head of all these songs over the years, and, you know, memorize. I don't keep set lists on stage. As a matter of fact, I play a show in Eaton, North Carolina tomorrow, and the only song I know I'm doing tomorrow is the first one. When I get there, I'll know what I'm going to do, you know, and actually that's been a lot more fun for me because I'll go there and it's like, I have planned shows before, but to plan a show for me, it never works. I'll get there and I'll change it. So me doing most solo stuff, I feel like I put on a pretty live show by myself, just me and my guitar. I love playing with bands, I like playing with other people, but when I'm by myself, I'm really able to flip a coin and say, okay, well, this is what we're doing today, you know. So I go out and I read the crowd a lot of times. You know, I can tell the emotion, what's going on, if they're really into it, if they're getting really rowdy or something. At one point, I want to calm them down. I'm gonna throw a sappy song on them and just bring them down a little bit. But if they're too down, I'm gonna pop something on and get some jumping around a little bit. You know. So that being said, that may be a challenge, but it's a blessing too. You know. So.
Yeah. Well, I've heard you talk about gauging the crowd, and you've even thrown in a Marvin Gaye song before, and I think that's good that you can do that variety. And actually, just because if you plan the show like you say, and you get there and the crowd's completely different than what you planned, then it's good that you're able to switch that button and do something different. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, after 18 years in the business, in the full time in the industry, what would you say at this point is your kind of end result goal?
To have a #1 record. My goal is that, and I believe I'm going to. I've got some songs right now that I truly believe in, that are going to do something. I have it. I feel it in my heart. The guy told me at the MCA building, Universal Studios, years ago. He said, "Go with your gut feeling with everything." Well, what's going on right now, I'm going with it, and it feels good. You know, so that's what my end goal is, and I want to change lives with music. You know, I want to see people's lives change. You know, in a positive way, not a negative way at all. And I want to see the America come together again. You know, we're such a divided nation right now. It's like, I don't even watch the news. I can't stand watching the news anymore. I don't want to watch it. I don't care. Most of it's lies anyway. I don't watch it because of negativity. They want to promote the negative things, but I want to see, you know, the goodness come back. And I think that's the vehicle that I can be with music. You know, I try to be positive in everything I do with that. Yeah.
Well, I know one thing you mentioned too when we kind of went over some of the questions, like you also mentioned you wanted to be the one that inspired people who are not 25 to keep pushing through, you know.
Yeah. In my early days in Nashville, I'll never forget, there was a big thing. It's not that way anymore, but it was then. You know, they were saying, well, we're not signing people, they're not going to sign people to recording contracts and this and this and this if they're out of their 20s and stuff. And, you know, it was a little phase. It lasted for a very short period of time, but now the music business is, you know, I think if you have an image, you have a message, and you have the voice, I think it doesn't matter anymore. And I'm seeing that we who have been in the music business for 18 years, speaking of myself, and haven't fell victim to drugs, alcohol, or just let yourself go, and has stayed true, we have a lot to offer, you know. And the older guys and girls out there, you know, a lot of times feel hopeless, you know, but if they have staying power and they still are putting good music and keep doing it, they need to keep pushing through because it will break, you know. And I mean, and that being said, and also want to be inspiration for people who have disabilities. You know, don't look at your disability, look at your gift that you were given, you know, whether it be in business or it could be in anything. But for me, speaking of music. So,
right.
You know, you have to try to look at the positive, don't look at the negative, and do anything you can the way you can do it. You know, I may do something totally different than anybody else does, but I get it done. One way or another, I'm gonna get it done. And you know, that's the message I want to leave behind.
Yeah.
The legacy.
Well, what have your fans meant to you over all these years?
My fans mean everything to me. If they weren't there, I might as well sit in my house and never go out and sing. You know, the fans and the people who come to my shows that appreciate me enough to come, there's not much I wouldn't do for them. I have some fans that I had from the very beginning, and I feel funny calling some of them fans because they become friends.
Uh-huh.
You know, they show up at my shows, they buy the new CDs, they buy, you know, merchandise, T-shirts, or whatever. They're actually friends, you know, old friends, you know. And I like to get to know all of them in personal ways. I'm getting ready to start doing some new things to get to know them better anyway, on a personal level.
Well, I think that's good because they are important. you know, they're what keep you going, keep you moving into new levels. So
Yeah,
what advice would you give to, say, any viewers that were watching this or watching the replay, you know, that are working on their dreams, possibly in the same industry or even in another industry? What would you do that could to help them stay inspired and motivated, I guess?
go with your gut feeling and everything you do, and 9 times out of 10 you'll go right. And just be true to your goal. Don't look at the negative, look at the positive. You know, it's way too easy to look at the negative this day and time. Just look at the positive and just believe in yourself. You know, believe in yourself don't mean be cocky. You know, stay grounded. You know, I've seen some artists that have great voices, and as far as singers,
Mm-hmm.
and you hear them on the radio and they're so great, but they have terrible attitudes. They don't appreciate their fans. They don't appreciate where they come from. Never forget where you come from, and always appreciate your fans, and take time out to you know, be there for them. But the main thing to answer your question is just to, you know, be true and be honest to what you do. Don't cheat yourself. Cheat yourself, you're cheating everybody else too.
Right.
And but just stay grounded and stay focused. You know, that's a big thing. You know, and just believe in yourself enough to keep yourself going. You know, and
go ahead.
No, that's good. That's all I said.
How and what has helped you stay focused, would you say, the most? Like,
you know, there's many things, but mainly just basically what I said, just staying true to what I do.
Yeah.
Knowing this is my calling. I mean, this is what I do.
Yeah. But
You know,
I think yeah. Yeah, and staying away from the news media, I think, has helped you too, and would help a lot of people. So,
and don't read write-ups about you.
Yeah.
Don't read the critic stuff.
No, well, the critics are they're there to criticize, they forget that music, a movie, anything in the arts is it's very subjective to whoever's listening to it, viewing it, or whatever. And so since we all have different opinions, I don't pay attention to the critics. That's just their opinions. So you're right.
Yeah.
You know, some of the best movies I've seen were horribly criticized. So, you know. Yeah. Just don't listen. But almost every artist of any sort, whether it's a singer-songwriter, an artist of paint, sculptors, anything, has a dancer, anyone, an actor, has hit a creative block at some time or another in their career. And sometimes we hit them periodically, you know, not just once. What has helped you push through those creative blocks? Like, say if you're, I don't know, you're having trouble writing a song or something, I don't know, or just, I don't know, anything that helps you push through that to get creative again. Or
I think what gets me creative again is going on a trip, you know, getting out of where I'm at sometimes, or, you know, listening to conversations, or, you know, of other people, because a lot of songs I get from that, I hear stories, you know, and just listening to good music or playing good cover songs. You know, if I get in a creative time where I'm just not really into writing something at the time, and it happens to all of us, I think I start just going back to my heroes in music and playing their songs, you know, and that does help me out a lot.
yeah, well, I think that what you said about listening conversations, that's good, because it's interesting. Because I can't remember who I was having this conversation with a few years ago, and we were talking about, if you want to be a great speaker, you got to get good at telling stories. And that applies in a lot of things, like in sales too. And one of the people I know that is so successful as a speaker is Joel Osteen. He's great at telling stories. I don't know if you've ever listened to him, but he's really good at telling stories, and he tells them in his books and when he speaks. And so with country music, you were talking about it, it's real life and telling stories. So the fact that you listen to conversations, that's getting good at telling stories, and I can see where that helps you in songwriting, you know. So
yeah, it does.
I think that's pretty cool. That's just good. But you have a couple of performances coming up, and I know one of them's tomorrow in Eaton at Riverfest, and then you're going to be returning to the Carolina Theater on is it the 30th, I believe, of this month. Are you looking forward to going back to the theater? And
yeah, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's I always look forward to those times. It's a show where people actually sit and listen and, you know, tell stories behind the songs. And, you know, sometimes in my live shows, I don't do all the songs that I really want to do because maybe there's too much commotion going on. But there I can do, you know, some of my really slow, sad ballads or, you know, quiet ballads and stuff I like to do. But it's just it's a good venue. It's a lot of fun. September 30th, 8 to 10, you know, in Greensboro, North Carolina. If anybody's in the area, you can go online to carolinatheater.com and get your tickets. And it's gonna be a really good show, and it's gonna be like it's the big show of the year actually for me. So
yeah,
it's gonna be good.
yeah. And then tomorrow, you're sound like you were looking forward to that in Eden. That's a festival kind of thing.
Yeah, I hadn't been back to Eden. When I first started my music career professionally, it started out of Southern Virginia area and the upper North Carolina part right there along the border of Virginia. So I have a good fan base there. Looking forward to getting back there. I hadn't been back there since 2011. So it's been a pretty good while since I've been there. So I'm looking forward to getting back and seeing some people. I've actually got some messages on Facebook of folks that's going to be up there that's looking forward to me coming back. So it's going to be kind of cool, you know, to return there after all this time. I hadn't returned there since you were talking about losing my voice. I lost my voice some couple of years after that. And so that put me out of the loop for about a year, getting back into, you know, playing and singing and stuff. So I just hadn't been back since then. I'm looking forward to getting back up there now. It's going to be a really good experience, I think.
Yeah.
And that's tomorrow, 3:30 to 4:30 in Eden, North Carolina at the Riverfest. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, I'll be there with my camera.
All right, cool.
But now, you know, you just got back from Nashville, and I know you recorded your original song, Looks Like I'm Running Out of Time. I wondered if there's anything you wanted to share about this experience that you wanted your fans to know, because I know that was a pretty big, exciting trip for you. Was there something that you wanted to share about that experience?
It was just good to be back in Nashville. You know, it's a town that I've always thrived in because everybody there is working for the same purpose. You know, all the musicians, and seems like everywhere I go in Nashville, everybody's happy. You know, all the musicians, we're all working for the same thing and cheering each other on. And the one thing I've noticed about being in, I call it in town, you know, is that everybody's in really big support of each other versus the competition in that, you know, in the places that we don't call Music City. A lot of times people are not as supportive of each other, but everybody there is trying to make it, you know. You got guys and girls that write together and they play together, and everybody's living their dreams, so everybody's happy. So it's a really good spirit, you know, to be back there and get in there with the professional people in the industry. Is a lot of fun. It's like I know when I got to the studio, I kind of came alive, you know. I was like, wow, you know, I'm right here with people, they get it, you know. So we go in there and did some good recording. You know, so every time I get to record, it's a lot of fun there, you know. So Yeah, I love being in Nashville. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of good work, and it's a very prosperous time.
Oh yeah. Well, one of the first when I met you for the photo shoot for the magazine here, that was something we talked about right before you left after the photo shoot. I remember we were all standing around and we had that common ground with talking about how people should somehow find a way to support each other because, you know, for me, I've always said there's plenty of room for success for all of us. And when people learn to realize that, they can capitalize on the support they give each other, and everybody. It's a win-win situation, you know. And so, and I know you felt that way too. So it sounds like it's that way in Nashville anyway.
It is. It is in other places. I know. I don't run into it as much, you know, in a lot of places. I know there's so many people working for the common goal, you know, as it is probably in LA with a lot of the actors and stuff. I think people don't look at being competition as much, you know, let's help each other. It's all for the better for our industry, you know.
Right.
And I appreciate you supporting, promoting all the people that you do. That's a gift, you know. And that's something I think will come back in return for you and other people that do that. And we should do that. We should support each other in that. And I like to try to help people getting in the business if I can, with advice or any way I can, you know. And I think we all should learn to do that. And I think it'd be for the better for all of the arts or any kind of venture. You know, a lot of people feel inferior to another person in the business, of any business. It could be, you know, anything, but I think if everybody could learn to work together, it'd be a better world.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it would be. And hopefully at some point, maybe the majority of people will realize that and get back to that. But I know I got one more question for you, Michael, and I wanted to know, because I always like to know if you have a dream place that you would like to perform that you've never performed yet. Is there a dream place that?
Yeah, the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably my number one.
Yeah.
I've literally had dreams of it, you know, sleeping at night.
Yeah.
I've been on stage looking out, you know, and seeing the lights. You know, I've actually had dreams, you know, over the years. And I had one dream that was so vivid of it one time. I can't remember if I think it was a night after I'd opened up. It was either Travis Tritt or somebody else. I can't remember who it was. Because I'd done a lot of opening acts. So I'm used to the big stage. And I think I'd woke up and I remember dreaming of being at the Opry, and the whole place was slam full of people. And like I said, I'm legally blind, so I could see them, but I couldn't see them. You know, and dreams, you know, dreams are always weird anyway.
Yeah.
But I just remember lights, you know, coming down, you know, and the brim of my hat catching the light, you know, I can remember that. And I seen my guitar, and it was just really cool. But that's like my ultimate place I want to play, is the Grand Ole Opry one day. So yeah, and I believe it's going to happen. So
I believe it will too. You just keep sticking with it. If you've been able to overcome so much, so I think that's made you stronger and better, and I think this is your time to shine. So, you know, I'm looking forward to witnessing it. I know it's exciting for you, so, and that's great. And you've got a lot of good support, and that's what'll help you get through all of it. So that's good. Well, I hate to end this today, Michael, but I wanted to thank you again for being here. And is there anything else that you want to add that we didn't talk about or mention?
Not really. Just, I appreciate you having me. I appreciate everybody that's watching out there, and hope to see you at the show sometime. So come up and introduce yourself. I like to meet everybody. I like to walk around the crowds after I'm done, and I like to see who I was singing for, because like I said, I can't see you from the stage. But yeah, I appreciate you having me. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, I'm really glad you were able to do this. So I'm excited for all the good things that are happening for you. That's always fun to hear. Don't go away, though. I want to thank the viewers for their continued support. And you can actually see the replay of this on my YouTube channel, Tamarah's Closet, as well as it'll be in my tamarahscloset.com website. So make sure that you share this, the replay, so that I can continue to help promote and celebrate Michael Ken. You can also, he's on Facebook as Michael Ken, and you can find him there, and you can go to his website, which is michaelkenmusic.com. So make sure you check out all that and follow him on, Facebook, and get to one of his events so that you can get to know him, because he's very genuine. And I think you'll be glad you did. And also join me in October. I have some exciting guests still to come. And one of my guests coming up is Daniel Sassi from Israel. She's 15 years old. She's a flutist. And she's very special and dear to my heart, because I interviewed her father a little over a year and a half ago, who is a guitarist and in Israel, and he's just as kind as he can be, and his daughter is just a little angel. I got to meet her on Google Chat, so I'm really excited about having her. She's just such a sweetheart and a beautiful young girl. And then I'll be interviewing a celebrity trainer, a personal trainer who's helps a lot of celebrities out in California, Marcus Smith. So stay tuned to Tamarah's Closet, so that you can and you can find me on Facebook as Tamarah Ellen, E-L-L-E-N, and so that you can stay in touch with all the upcoming interviews on Tamarah's Closet. And to your own success, just keep on rocking it, keep on pushing forward, and we'll see you next time. Take care.